Do you think to pass the challenge, you have to day trade actively, or can you do this with the set and forget approach as well?
Interesting question. I mean, my character. I'm not a day trader. In my approach
You could not manage the emotions, right?
Exactly.
What was your percentage risk?
I took a 3% risk.
3%. Ooh,
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes,
That's the first time I hear that. Okay, but okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay, if this worked for you, perfect. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you only learn when you get hurt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All of us in the campus, following somehow a similar approach, and I see my peers doing good on certain traits or on a certain, approach, and I see that it's not working for me. Then this was the wake-up call.
Oh, wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to another episode of the Podcash here at Online Trading Campus in our office at the Opus by Omniat with another very interesting guest. Nader. Hi, Nader. How are you doing?
Good morning, Bernd. Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
Thank you for coming, Nader. Let me tell you a quick story about Nader. So Nader has been a student with us for quite some time. And in the very beginning, he had bad habits. And I even told him, Nader, if you continue to have such bad habits, you're not going to make it as a trader. And if you don't change your approach to trading, your mindset, you're not going to make it. And I firmly believe that he's not going to make it. But you know what? He proved me wrong. He became one of our best traders at the campus. And how to prove that? He's now a verified prop trader. In fact, he's certified with FTMO. And he's trading a $200,000 account. So Nader, tell us, how did you change?
Well, Bernd, I must say it wasn't easy. When you are grown with certain personality traits and character, it takes you time to fix what you need to fix, and to get to the discipline, which in my opinion is the most important thing in trading. I had to suffer from pain and from setbacks.
Yes.
And I think that's the only time where you sit back and you evaluate, and then you basically figure out what you need to change. So bringing in the discipline, in my opinion, was the most important thing in my evolution to get to where I am right now, doing what I'm doing.
That's great. And during the podcast, we definitely going to elaborate more on what made you change and how you changed, because that's super interesting. Even as I said, to be fully honest, I didn't believe that you can change, but you literally proved us all wrong that you changed. So we're going to elaborate on this a little bit later. Tell us first a little bit about you, Nader. Who are you, Nader? What are you doing in real life besides trading?
Yeah, long story. 43 years old of age. I came to Dubai. I'm born in Abu Dhabi, actually. I came to Dubai. I traveled out of the country, and I graduated back in Lebanon, and I came back to the country back in 2004 when I finished my degree in information technology. And since then, I got the opportunity to start working in the transportation industry, changed a couple of companies, and currently I'm working in the capacity of regional business development manager for one of the multinational transportation companies.
What did you get? Why did you get into trading in the first place?
Yeah.
Why?
Interesting question. So, as you advance in your career, Bernd, your requirements and your expectations also go higher, and your aspirations go higher.
Yeah.
So I always have this entrepreneurial kind of spirit in me, and I
can
always,
tell, yes.
Yeah, I always wanted, to do something for me to become independent. And after skimming the market and, thinking of so many business or entrepreneurship approaches, I came across trading. And to be honest with you, like everybody who, probably wants to learn about something, it's what you get to see online, on the internet, with so many news articles, information scattered, not organized. But then as I got myself a little familiar with it, I I came to know that this is the kind of job that I want to do. The main reason behind it, Bernd, as we all know, it's because of the freedom that this kind of job gives you. Not freedom only in terms of financial freedom, but the freedom in terms of time. And funny enough, a couple of days I posted something on my social media platform that time is the most important thing in your life. So I didn't want to, if I wanted ever to substitute a job, I want to substitute it with some other job that gives me the leverage of time to be able to spend more time with the family and focus on things that matter in life.
I love your answer. What to say? No, but since you mentioned already the time aspect, let's also elaborate a little bit on the time aspect before we move into your journey, campus journey, basically. So right now, while you're a verified prop trader, how does your daily routine, your weekly trading routine look like? Do you have like office hours where you say at home, hey, on Sunday, this is where I have my office hours, where I trade from 5, where I do my analysis from 5 to 6, something like that? Or do you have like a proper daily routine? How long do you trade on average? Can you share a little bit your routine, how you manage everything, corporate life, trading, and now you have a wife as well, and now you just have a newborn, right? Congratulations to this
indeed.
as well.
Thank you.
So how do you manage all of that?
Yeah, I mean, as much as it looks like, it's too much of work. And in fact, actually, with proper time management, we both know that you can manage. So obviously, as we mentioned, I have a corporate job. So 8 to 5, 8 to 5:30, I'm already engaged in my corporate job, and there's no room for me to do my analysis or my trading. So obviously my trading time, and this is divided into 2 portions, I would say. The educational part of it, my learning, the continuous learning that has to happen on a daily basis, and then the analysis of where I do the actual trading and I put my setup. So I usually aim to do it on a daily basis. I spend around 30 minutes to 45 minutes, an hour, I would say, on a daily basis upon the US market opening. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I would say 5:30 onwards, 6 o'clock onwards. And I must say that I also, if I'm busy or engaged on certain days of the week, I can still skip a day or 2 and then catch up and make it up.
It doesn't hurt your trading at all, right? If you skip a day or 2 days, because you're also trading based on the set and forget approach, I guess, right? You place your trade, all your trades are pre-planned and set in advance. Am I right?
Yes, I would say around 80% of my trades are pre-planned, market limit orders.
Yes.
But I do engage in the market sometimes based on price action. If there are,
Now we get already technical. Yes, okay, price, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I look for validation. So my trading style is, I would say, mostly focused on pre-analysis, set and forget, which is the campus approach that we learned.
Yes.
And we stick to, all of us, long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, a small portion of my trading character is also based on price action, which means that it's an immediate engagement in the market. Now, this is not something that I focus upon or something that I want to adopt going forward. Probably I want to have it 100% more of a set and forget approach, but it does happen.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So I was talking about, obviously, the trading aspect. There is also the educational aspect. As you know, there is lots of material in the online trading campus available for education.
We all never stop learning, basically, right?
Of course, refreshments. Sometimes when you evolve in your career, whatever it is, you tend to forget the basics. So you always need to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you remind you of the basics.
Yourself.
Yes, go back to the roots. Yes, 100%. Yes.
Absolutely. So those are mostly the longer sessions, the 1 hour kind of sessions, 1.5 hours, which I would do on weekends, on Saturdays, Sundays, or later at night if I don't have something interesting to do.
So besides the educational part, right, just the pure trading, would this statement be true for you that you can say you trade less than an hour. You need less than an hour on average per day for your actual trading.
Oh yes, definitely.
100%, right?
Definitely. So if I average it out on a week in terms of actual trading, it would be somewhere around 3.5 or 4 hours, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah, which is not bad. I mean, really nice time to invest.
Right, that's the time, exactly, that's the time aspect, the freedom of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, most important for me, most important. My kid is 6 months old now. He's growing, in front of my eyes. So
That's nice.
I want to allocate more time for him. And
wow,
for the
that's
family.
amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great. So let's talk a little bit about your journey and start elaborating a little bit about the habits that you had in the beginning, in the very beginning, and how you evolved as a trader, right? So eventually you joined the campus a few years ago, right? So how would you describe yourself as a person back then versus now? Like, did you go through some stages, development stages, mental development, mindset changes? Like, tell us.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting question, Bernd. And I guess you know my story. And
I know your story, but the audience doesn't know your story, so that's why.
Of course, happy to share it with the audience. For educational purposes, or also for me to always set ground on where I need to be. So that's also part of my ongoing commitment.
Yes,
I would say. Yeah, so Bernd, you know me. I mean, I joined the campus in the very early stages of its inception.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the very first students, and very excited. I was very excited at that point of time.
I remember super excited, even overexcited, right? And being overexcited is sometimes also dangerous, right?
It is. It is. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And I think that's the biggest change that I have gone through since that point of time until we are here today. I mean, if I would have traded with the same character of 2019 on the FTMO, pursuing the FTMO, funding, I would never have made it.
No, of course not.
Never. Yeah, so emotional guy. I'm a salesperson, so I love the people's aspect of, connection and, chatting, conversations. I'm excited for opportunities. Salespeople are usually, opportunity driven and all. So in the beginning, I must say that I was hyped and I would engage in the market in a very emotional way. And starting with that, obviously, when I first started with the live account, that character did, affect me in a way. So in the beginning, few successful trades, and then when the actual character kicked in.
I remember that, sorry to interrupt you, but I remember that time because you showed me your trade log and you had like this beginner's luck, right?
Indeed.
Where you had like the first few trades went really well and you actually made money. So kind of this supported your doing, right? You thought you're doing everything right because you made money, right? But then it bit your back. It backfired basically.
It did. Yes, indeed. So first couple of trades were successful, and to your point, that's when the psychology of the trading, the psychology of the character kicked into the trading aspect, and I must say, Bernd, up till now, the biggest challenge for me personally is the psychology of the trading, not the knowledge part of it. Because in my opinion, the knowledge is acquired with time and with effort, and with screen time, we always learn and we catch on new ideas and new learnings and new patterns. But I think if I want to give a percentage to the knowledge versus the psychology, I would give knowledge not more than 20 or 25%. And that's my personal
Would you mean like knowledge in terms of skill set? Because we have to differentiate knowledge and skill, right? You can be the most knowledgeable person in the world, but you don't have skill, right? An economist might be very knowledgeable about the economy, but has no skill in terms of trading, right?
Yes.
So you're referring to it as
The skill set.
the skill set.
Yeah, so skills is an applied knowledge.
Yes, applied knowledge.
Yes,
right,
indeed. So basically, that's what I meant. So the skill set of me as a trader, in my opinion, contributes to 25% of my trading style, and 75% is the psychology of it. The
For
two-
you, yeah.
Yes,
For you personally, yeah.
fear and greed. So, I mean, I'm sure this percentage differs a little bit.
Varies, yes, based on personality,
Yeah,
yes.
but I would still believe that any trader at any point of time would still always would need to work more on the psychology aspect more than
At some point of time, yes, I agree to that. At some point of time, yes. I mean, psychology, I always say a good mindset, a proper psychology comes with like proper skill set, because you cannot have, if you're not skilled, the best psychology in the world will not help you to make money in the market. So you need the skill set as a base. You need to be, the strategy is always the base, the foundation, right? And at some point of time, yes, you're absolutely right. It's more about the psychology, the mental side of the game. The more money you manage, the harder it gets emotionally.
Absolutely. Yeah, so going back to the story, so I had setbacks and then I had to break away from trading for quite some time. Because Bernd, it's not easy working on changing your character.
Can we elaborate a little bit on, because you said in the very beginning, discipline was a problem, right? How was it visible to you that it's the discipline? What do you mean with discipline? I mean, it's a broad word, right? I mean, what does it mean in trading, discipline, for you? Does it mean like following your rules, not moving your stop loss, having a stop loss? What does it mean, discipline, for you in terms of trading discipline?
Right. So discipline, Bernd, to me is sticking to your trade plan.
Okay.
We all have trade plans and a trading style that is put in there. In my opinion, discipline is having that as your Bible, not moving an inch away from it. And if ever you need to move and evolve and change it, it has to be after a certain number of verified experiences where you go back and then you change in it. And we both know that it won't be too much of a change. It will be more like fine-tuning. Yeah, so the discipline was mainly on sticking to all actually the aspect that you mentioned, having fear kick in and then moving a stop loss, going for a bigger position size and having that as a loss.
Yeah. Yeah. We've all been there, it's like, guilty as charged, like we've all been there. So, but it's important that we learn from these mistakes.
Absolutely. So you only learn when you get hurt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're not, the psychology part, I hope you agree with me, or maybe let's see what you think about it. The psychology part, you only learn when it hurts.
Absolutely.
You don't learn by me telling you.
Absolutely.
You don't learn by me telling you, please never move your stop loss, right? You don't learn by that. You learn by doing it once, getting hurt once, doing it twice, getting hurt twice, and then eventually you will learn, right?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody has a trading style, but imagine like going online and hearing all these trading tips from the so different gurus or whoever claims to have the holy grail of trading, and then going and changing your style on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. It just doesn't happen this way. You have to experience your pain points, which would be little probably different from Bernd's pain points or anybody else's, and then improve on these in particular. So sticking, and until now I must say that it still remains the biggest challenge, being disciplined, managing the psychology, and sticking to the trade plan. So that's how I had to start the change in my trading
So was
style.
there a tipping point where you woke up in the middle of the night and you said, now I have to change? I just want to understand how did you change so drastically?
Absolutely. So Bernd, we share a common platform, a common kind of approach to the trading. Again, everybody's style is different, but the foundation is the same for us.
The framework is the same.
Framework.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, you have to benchmark your performance against your peers, your colleagues, right? So if I see all of us in the campus, following somehow a similar approach, and I see my peers doing good on certain traits or on a certain, approach, and I see that it's not working for me, then this was the wake-up call.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I didn't know that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Really, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, indeed. I mean, and that made me, hold back, take a break away and reevaluate. And then when I came back at an exciting time where we had, a great advantage in the campus with the introduction of the proprietary indicators.
Yeah.
And that was a game changer. I mean, because in my character, I'm very meticulous. I like, studying the aspects of a certain thing down to the, to the bottom of it, figuring out different approaches, different aspects of it. So with our initial fundamental, tools that we had, it was good enough for me to do the trading. But I always felt that I needed further layer of validation.
Yes. Further confirmation, and it's what the indicators do for you, right? They help you to further confirm a setup, for instance, right?
Absolutely. So think about it like you have a setup, and in your mind you have like 70-80%. You're convinced that this is the right thing.
The probability
of the success of a setup or a trade is like in the range of 70 to 80%. But then comes the indicators, and then three additional layers of validation that could probably bring this up to 90%, to 95%.
Probability, yeah.
Yeah, so, this increasing the probability of the successful trades through the use of indicators. I mean, it was wow, an eye-opener for me. So
this was a technical aspect that made you change or help you to change.
Absolutely.
And did you have any rules, or do you have any rules in place that make you change, or that make you stick to your rules, that make you more disciplined? Like, how do you kind of counter that inner demon that tells you, move your stop loss? How do you counter that? Do you have any rules in place? Or?
Yes, absolutely. So again, one of the changes, Bernd, that I implemented was always going for a fixed risk.
Perfect. Yes.
This was I mean, a gap in my trading style. And as I mentioned, moving your stop loss is never a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you have to lose certain trades. It's the cost of doing business.
Yes.
We always...
Our statistical losses, they always happen, right? Exactly. We have to be okay with that, right?
Yeah. Now, where it affects your psychology if you are losing more than what you can afford.
100%.
So in the change that I implemented in my style is basically setting the fixed risk, going back to this concept. So even
and being okay with losing that fixed, exactly. Being okay with that, yes.
Absolutely, accepting that it's a cost of doing business. Yes. Yeah, we give the example of if you have any kind of business, there is cost to buy assets, to buy to pay salaries.
Your expenses, yes.
Your expenses, right? Yeah. So the losing trades are basically your cost.
Your expenses, yes.
Your
perfect.
expenses.
Yes, that's how we have to see it. Yes.
Yeah, but then again, being prepared to lose a fixed amount which is there in your trading plan, that's the most important thing. So even if you lose a streak of 1 or 2 or 3 trades, it will not affect the psychology for you. The fear of the psychology will not kick in and dominate your trading character. So that, in my opinion, was the game changer alongside of the indicators, and of course banking on the initial foundation that we have. That's when I got back on track, I would say, and then I started being consistent and making profits in the market.
That's great. And then you eventually started your prop trading journey, right?
Indeed.
So how did that go in the sense of you are, as we said, you're certified FTMO trader and you have a 200K account. That's huge, right? So you started with the challenge and you achieved 10% ROI, right? So did you manage the 10%? How many days do you remember? How long did it take you? Did you use the whole 30 days or did you manage to get it in half of the time? Like how long did it take you? Do you remember?
Yes, indeed. I mean, at the challenge stage, I think I've consumed somewhere around 25 to 26 working days.
Okay.
Yeah, on the 26th day, I hit the profit target of 10%.
Did you do that? Did you hit the profit target with day trading, or was it more like swing trading, weekly income, how we would call it? Like, do you think to pass the challenge you have to day trade actively, or can you do this with the set and forget approach as well?
Interesting question. I mean, you know my character. I'm not a day trader. My approach
You could not manage the emotions, right?
Exactly. You know.
Yeah. You have to get away from the screen, right? I think this helps you as well.
Absolutely.
If you had to sit in front of the screen 24/7, this would drive you nuts.
Absolutely. I mean, doing day trading has to come with more screen time. And, and as I mentioned, I don't have the legacy of having time throughout the day to do day trading. And to your point, when you do the day trading, it's basically more emotions. And that was my main challenge since day one. So I'm not a day trader. I'm a swing trader kind of guy, and that approach has helped me best. Now, of course, in our if we want to go a little technical, there's always the refinement that we do.
Yeah, right? We can go technical. So please, yes.
Yeah. So obviously, if for example I'm taking a position on a daily or a weekly basis, I would still refine it in a way to capitalize on the risk to reward, what we call the R&R, because that's the main fundamental measure of a successful trader, as we know. It's not about how many times you lose. It's how many wins you make when you are right.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. How big is the reward when you're right?
Yes, indeed. So basically, I'm a swing trader. This was my approach. However, because of the KPIs of the challenge, and as you know, it's very aggressive, I had to, increase my risk position to meet the KPIs of that challenge.
What was your percentage risk?
I took a 3% risk.
3%. Ooh,
yes.
That's okay.
Yes,
that's the first time I hear that. Okay, but that's good. Okay, if this worked for you, perfect. Yeah.
I traded more like confirmations also sometimes, so that helped me. So with the 3% kind of risk and the confirmation style.
Was it then one-to-one risk to reward?
More like one-to-one risk.
So you took 3% risk per trade, one-to-one profit targets, quick.
Yes.
Quote unquote, quick in, quick out. Even though it took like a little bit longer, because what was the lowest time frame you went into?
I did not go lower than 4 hours, I would say.
So 240 minutes.
240
Perfect.
minutes.
Yeah. So
yes. I never traded in my career below 4 hours, 240 minutes, as a refinement. So, but my trades were basically, I was waiting for good market setups, so good market moves, and then I increased my risk, my position size, and took one-to-one, and I also engaged in some price action movements as a day trading, and all of it ended up going through the challenge phase.
All right, so to summarize, during your challenge phase, you took 3% risk per trade, one-to-one profit targets, you never went lower than 4-hour charts. Indeed. And still followed the kind of the set and forget approach.
Indeed.
Perfect. Now you passed the challenge. Now you went into the verification where you only had to hit 5% and you had 60 days.
Absolutely.
Please tell me you changed your approach. You lowered your risk from 3%, or did you follow your 3%?
No, absolutely not. I became much more conservative, Bernd. Because first of all, psychology-wise, you have to, preserve your gains. Right?
Yes.
So you cannot pass the challenge stage and then not pass the verification.
Happened to some students as well. But yes, it might happen, and for good reasons. Most probably as well sorry to interrupt you, by the way, but most probably when you went into the verification stage, you felt so close to get funded. So you also had that pressure, that internal pressure of, I want it now, right? Or
it was completely the opposite for me. So So that was basically, indeed, that was basically what was kicking in on what was going on in my mind. And that helped me, kind of suppress it, I would say, and become more conservative. Because KPIs are cut down by half, by 50%. So you have to be reasonable and you have to adopt. There was no use for me to stay aggressive and with my risk position.
The Nader I knew 5 years ago wouldn't have said that. Perfect. No, that's
Again,
that's yeah.
Part of the evolution
It's
and
part of the
part of the
evolution.
journey, as we discussed.
So what was your risk during the?
So I started taking 1.5%
Okay.
risks. So I cut it down by 50% in line with the KPIs.
Yes, of course.
Because the
Still
profit-
1-to-1.
Yeah, more like 1-to-1. And certain position size maybe on a weekly basis went up to 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 as and when the market was working in favor of my set and forget approach. So basically, as you know, in the verification stage, your profit target is cut by 50%, and your time to achieve is also increased by another 50%. So I didn't feel too much the pressure, and
That's perfect.
I took the conservative approach.
How long did it take you? Do you remember?
It took me also 1 month to hit around
Great.
30 days. Yes.
But you didn't feel the pressure that I need to have it now, that funded account. You felt calm because of that extended time.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
And I'll take it one step further. Once I passed the verification, which is now, I think that's something would be interesting for you and the audience. Once I took I passed the verification stage and I got funded. For a whole week, I did not go live and take an actual trade, though I had setups. But I just wanted to make sure that I'm, having the discipline reinforced and not rush into the market. And
Wow, that's definitely a different Nader, right?
Yeah.
So perfect. No, I love it. It's great. Do you remember some of the trades that you took during that entire evaluation phase?
Oh, yes,
What
indeed.
What markets did you trade? What are you usually trading? What are you focusing on? Is it commodities? Is it indices? Is it CFD stocks? Tell us a little bit about the markets you kind of prefer. Do you have a preference?
Yes, indeed. I mean, as you know, when you're trading with FTMO, you have somehow a limited set of financial products that you can trade. I mean, it's extensive, but it's not like you have access to the entire, financial assets.
What are the markets you would say are missing for you? What would you like to trade?
I mean, I love to trade agriculture and soft products. It's a no secret.
Otherwise we cannot trade orange juice and wheat and corn with with FTMO. Maybe at some point of time this would be too good to be true, but anyway, yes.
Yes, indeed. I mean, And reason
but besides that, yes.
Yeah, so my focus was I remember the energies trades were very successful for me at both the challenge and the verification stage.
So oil and natural
gas, crude oil.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Metals were also, in terms of palladium and platinum, were kind of good contributors. Didn't trade too much of the indices, but I did trade a couple of stocks. Nvidia was one of them.
Oh, wow, okay.
And by the way, it wasn't based on the news and the market valuation and all. It was purely based on technical analysis, our approach, just to, clear out this because...
Can you again... Okay, perfect. If you remember that Nvidia Trade, what are the rules that were in place in terms of the indicators and in terms of the supply and demand, the technicals?
Sure,
What was telling you this is going to go up?
Yeah. So
if you remember.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the way we approach trades is always consistent and similar. Nvidia is one of the high valuation companies which contribute significantly to the indices and all. So my approach when I traded Nvidia was to make sure that the indices are somehow... It was a long position, by the way. It was a buy.
Yeah.
It was a buy. I mean, it would be kind of foolish to go and short, blue chips and kind
especially in this period.
This period, we had all fundamentals working and guiding us into the direction of buying, being long. And I made sure that the indices are in a demand zone.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that was, let's say an additional layer of validation technically to make sure that I'm getting a good run for the indices
because of the cross asset correlation.
Of course.
Right,
I mean, we all know that indices are nothing but a collection of stocks.
Yes, yeah.
So if we are able to anticipate or to if we are able to see that the indices are somehow in a buying position or buying area, and we see also stocks also approaching that same area, then this is basically the validation. But the most important drive was the valuation tool, I would say, for the stocks, which works great, as we know. I mean, the probability and the success of it was great. So if I want to break down the approach, was basically going back to the fundamental rule of supply and demand, making sure that I'm engaging in a demand area, making sure that the indices are in demand, and making sure that the stock was undervalued and having a good profit potential. Because I remember I reaped probably out of 3-1 out of the Nvidia trade, and it was a sizable risk position, so that contributed to a good chunk of my KPI.
That's great. So I would like to touch on psychology again a little bit, because this is a major topic, especially for you, right? I mean, for everyone, but for you as well. But let me ask one more question in regards to prop trading. What are the benefits for you to be now a certified FTMO prop trader, or prop trading in general? Is it a game changer for you? What are the benefits?
Oh, thank you for asking this question, Bernd. I mean, out of a corporate job, you earn a salary, and then you have so much expenses in life. We all know how expensive Dubai is. So I believe it will always be a challenge for any kind of trader to secure additional funds. So as we all know, the bigger the funds you have, the more you can, obviously with time, increase your risk and become and make more money. So the only that I'll tell you how I did not perceive FTMO. I did not perceive it as free money, first of all. So I went in with the mindset that it's not free money. And I think that's very important on the psychology aspect, not to think about it in that sense and to take it for granted. So I went in as this is an opportunity for me to gain access into more capital, which would enable me to increase my risk and position size, and thus, grow and make more money. So definitely a game changer. I never had access to this much of money to manage and to trade with.
Of course, 200K is a big number. Come on, let's face it.
Small.
Yeah,
it's not small. But I mean, passing the challenge and the verification stage and now trading this account live has definitely given me more confidence and more aspiration to even go for the max allocation and gain another 200,000. Because if you make it once, I mean, you should not have a problem making it twice.
Or 3 times or 4 times, right? So scale up your business, right?
Of course.
But this is, when we talk about your goals, most probably that's one of your goals.
Right.
But let's stick this to the end of the podcast. Now, are there still things you have to improve when it comes to your mental game, to your psychology? What do you think?
This is an ever learning journey. As your risk size goes higher, as your risk appetite goes higher, as your risk capacity goes higher, you will always battle fear and greed. I mean, again, I always get reminded to go back to my trading plan. Go back to the Bible, stick to it, read through it, implement it, change very little in it. Do not fix what is not broken. And make sure that whatever change you implement is being tested and back tested and verified multiple times before you go and you put it in there. Because once you put it in there, it has to become your daily routine. You cannot deviate away from it. So yes, it will continue to be my biggest challenge, I would say. The skill set, will obviously need to be, revamped and enhanced as I go. And every day with our live trading sessions, seeing other traders' style, I would always pick up on something here and there. But then I would, yeah.
That's would have been my next question. So how is the campus helping you with sticking to your plan and with your mental game? What tools are you using? You just mentioned the daily live trading sessions. So
Sure. Yeah, amazing question. I've seen one of your social media posts where somebody asks you if you had a mentor, and you go like, of course, it has to happen. It's not like you can, engage in the market on your own and figure it out. It's quite impossible. In my opinion, you will never ever be successful.
Never.
Yeah.
Just full stop. Everybody who claims.
Yeah.
BS.
Because it's so much also misleading, the amount of information, and so much, a ton of information that is scattered. So you need a very structured approach. You need to see it fundamentally laid out in front of you, and you need to see the practical aspect of it. So I barely skip any trading session on online trading campus. And if I do not have the capacity of attending live, I would always have it, see the recording, allocate time for it, and cross-validate it with my own setups and see how much are we in line, how much am I in line with the general approach of the campus, because we all again look for common setups, and we all use the same proprietary indicators that enable us to engage in the market. So
maybe another, I would say maybe provocative question, because the Nader that I knew 5 years ago was completely different, right? Also from a maturity point of view, do you think like to become a professional trader, to handle a lot of money in the market, you need also kind of a mental maturity, like you as a person being more mature? Does this help?
Absolutely. And Bernd, maturity comes with age.
100%.
And with responsibility, I would say. So the more you achieve, the more of milestones you accomplish in your trading career and in your personal life. When you get married, you become more responsible. When you have kids, you become more responsible.
True.
It's all layers of responsibility, adding up and, making you be less hyped kind of a person and more focused and rule-driven. So, yes, 5 years down the line, I was not the same person that I am now, definitely. And 5 years ahead, I wouldn't be the same person that I am now.
Yes, and even if I think back 5 or 10 years ago, I would have never been if I think about how mature I was back then compared to now, back then, even if I had the same skill set back then, I wouldn't have been that mature to handle that amount of money. Because this comes also with age, right?
Of course.
With experience.
So, absolutely. So my advice, I would say to the younger age colleagues that are getting into the trading and all, just don't rush it. Do not rush it. Cool down. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
You want to trade until the rest of your life, right? So
exactly.
What does, on the grand scale, and this is always my point I'm trying to convey, on the grand scale, people are always trying to ask, or people always ask, how long will it take me? How long does it take? All these kind of questions. But on the grand scale, if it takes you a few months more or less, or even a year more or less, on the grand scale, you want to trade until you eventually be, right, even after retirement, we want to trade, right? So
not like it requires tons of effort, right?
Who cares, right? A few months more or less, or even a few years more or less.
Absolutely, Bernd.
Especially if you're young.
Yeah, in my opinion, if you are having this question in your mind, then this means you have to fix something.
Fully agree.
Fully agree. Yeah, if this question is coming like, when do I engage in the market?
Yeah.
When do I go to the next
fully
scale?
Agree.
It has to come intuitively, It has to come slowly without having the urge to do it. It has to be a natural progression, I would say. So, just now recently, as you mentioned, I got access to the funded account, and it's never on my mind now that I should get the other 200,000. Should get to the max allocation by next month, or by 2 months from now, or by the end of the year. I don't think this way anymore. I think I have to get established. I have to earn the income and meet the KPIs that I have set for myself trading this account. And yeah, I mean, once the time comes, it will come automatically. I would know it without it coming to my mind as a reminder. I would know exactly when it's time to go for another FTMO challenge. One, I could go for the My Campus Fund.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the big thing also.
Yeah.
And allow me to congratulate you on that
Thank
initiative.
you.
I'm not sure of how much you've elaborated on this, or I don't want to steal the thunder, but I mean, exciting initiatives in the OTC,
Yeah.
keep us all on our feet.
Some people are aware. We
Yeah.
haven't officially announced it yet, but yeah, this will come in due time, definitely.
Sure.
Now, I don't think when it comes to your trading plan, when it comes to your targets, you don't have monetary targets or time targets, as you said. You don't care about if you do it now or tomorrow or the next month. But you also don't have money targets, like hard KPIs in terms of I need to make 2K a month, 4K a month. Do you have that?
No.
Or would this counterproductive in your point of view?
No, in my trading style, I don't set monetary KPIs in a sense that I should meet a certain threshold. You know, the most important thing, Bernd, is that I maintain a healthy risk to reward ratio, and I'm consistent. That's the testimony for me, because as we just mentioned, in the beginning you have access to little capital, and as you grow, and with prop trading firms, you're having access to bigger capital, and money will come. Don't chase the money. Chase the approach. Make sure you are consistent.
Chase the process, right?
Chase the process.
So if the process is right, if your KPIs are right, your risk to reward in conjunction with your win-loss, right?
Yeah.
The risk to reward is weighted much higher.
Yeah.
The money will follow anyways. The money is just the end result of following the KPIs.
Absolutely. And I mean, some people, if they have a day-to-day job, for example, they expect a fixed income in the end of the month. It's not the case with trading.
No.
Certain months you would have good setups to be in, and certain months you would not have. So it's okay.
Sometimes you cannot influence it because you have to take what the market is giving you, right?
Absolutely.
You cannot force trades, right? Exactly. Yeah.
You have to capitalize on the turning points on the market where you can reap the best risk to reward. And that's where I measure my success. I would say, not in the extra $1,000 here and there. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. Chasing money never helped, especially not in trading, right?
Yes, indeed.
Now we can slowly come to an end, but I have one more question for you. What are your trading goals for this year, for the upcoming years? What do you want to achieve in terms of really, maybe, as you said, max allocation with FTMO and maybe another prop firm? Do you have any targets or any goals for your personal development? Again, key word here is psychology. Like, what are your goals? Do you have goals, trading goals?
I mean, indeed. Yes, indeed. You have to have an outlook of your near future. I don't think you can have some kind of strategic planning in trading, and you cannot anticipate, in my opinion, 3 or 4 years ahead of where you would be. But you definitely need to grow your business, right? I mean, if you don't grow, you die. You have to grow. So
let me ask a follow-up question here.
Sure.
How do you grow your trading business? For the people who don't know, right? Because we talk about growing, scaling up, increasing our risk. How would you do that?
Yeah. So as we mentioned, it's quite simple in trading. All what you need to do is to be able to cope up with an increased risk, with an increased position size.
Yeah.
So once your psychology enables you to engage in a bigger position size, obviously the bigger the reward. It's risk to reward. So when you started with the basic funding, you had very little money to make in terms of reward because your position size was small. So now as we are gaining access into more prop trading, firms funding, then the reward can be increased. Again, in my opinion, consistently, you cannot just go and increase your position size like at one shot of 100%.
I love that,
Yeah.
right? Because sorry to interrupt you here, but because I just love that so much. Because if you have, for instance, if you trade now a 200K account with 1% risk per trade, this is 2K risk per trade. If you have not traded before with 2K risk per trade, regardless of this is your money or not your money, it's a different ball game. If you have never traded 2K in your life, risk, you will not able to manage
huge
that.
Psychological challenge to cope up with losing.
Yes.
2K. Yeah, and also the reward of it.
Even the reward, if you look at the unrealized P&L and it goes up to you're desperate to press the close button, right? If you've never traded that before.
Absolutely.
We went all through that.
Absolutely. Again, fear and greed, fear and greed. Yeah. So in terms of my goals, I would say before the end of the year, I want to have max allocation. That's the plan.
Absolutely.
But
reasonable.
Reasonable. But I would never set up a particular month for the accomplishment of it, Bernd, So, that is in terms of the trading the funded account. At the same time, I still have my own personal account that I trade also. I would say more conservatively, and that's more like I want to grow it on the long term. So I take also more of investment approaches on it, because we all know that in our approach here we do more of trading, which is a little shorter term than the investment kind of thing. So two KPIs: growing my personal fund in terms of investment,
wealth bucket
versus income,
supplementary income.
Supplementary income.
Perfect.
The objective is also by the end of the year to be able to achieve an equivalent to my salary, to my running salary, from my funded trade account.
Absolutely reasonable.
Reasonable?
Absolutely. Yeah, you have my. I approve that. In terms of mental side, what you say? Are there any goals that you say? Okay, I still have that single point that I need to work on, or that you really have to? Is it just to be like consistently trying to follow the rules, being disciplined, fighting my inner demons?
It's a daily thing that I always fight and combat and keep an eye on a daily basis, Bernd. Managing the psychology, getting the discipline. I mean, you can never. There's a big testimony here in the OTC of how many successful traders we have already on board. So the process does work. It's just that keeping yourself reminded that you have to go back to the process. You just cannot deviate. It's not something that you can improvise. You can, decide to take a different route and experiment on new things. You just do not need to reinvent the wheel. You have something that works, stick to it, and it will eventually, be fruitful. And
because ultimately you're the one who's pressing the button. Right, you're the one who is pressing the button at the end of the day.
It's your decision. You're responsible for your own outcome, being
100%.
Successful or non-successful. So
great, Nader. Was really a pleasure having you. Do you have any question to me that you would like to ask? Is there anything?
Thank you. No, I mean the pleasure was mine. I'm very proud to be part of this organization, and cannot stress more of how game-changing it was for me, this decision. My question to you is, as a businessman now, you have also the online trading campus. What are your, aspirations and plans for the online trading campus over the next few years? How do you want to keep reinventing?
We have a lot of plans in place and doing a lot of things behind the scenes that I cannot fully reveal, right? But we are working on a lot of things, especially going more mainstream, going more global, reaching out to more people. So yes, we are working on that with now a relatively big team, and there's a lot of things in the pipeline, like some people know already my campus fund, but again, I don't want to reveal too much here. But there's a lot of things coming in the future, so I'm also super excited about that, and it keeps me busy besides obviously the trading part. But as you already, or as everyone who so far basically joined the podcast here, kind of confirmed that trading takes only a little bit of time of the entire day. So you need other things in life that keep you busy.
Indeed.
And for me, it's the business itself, the campus, and the other endeavors that we are working on. So yes, exciting times, and there's a lot to come.
Wishing you the best of luck and success, Bernd. You are a true example of entrepreneurship, and we're looking forward to continue the journey with the OTC and reach new highs and new heights.
Thank you, Nader. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching another episode of the podcast. If you want to reach out to Nader, we will, in the description, we will post his... You're on LinkedIn, right?
I am.
You're on LinkedIn, so we will post his LinkedIn handle. And yes, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Happy and safe trading, everyone.